and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, for the last 30 plus years known nationally as the Money Lady, involved in all arenas when it comes to money, financing, business ownership, etc. But I am honored and privileged today to have on a very special guest, a remarkable woman of African American heritage who is just a powerhouse. And I have to call it the way I see it because I deal with people every day. And believe me, she is an alpha female, type A personality. She's not cutting any corners, proven, seasoned, well established in her venue as a media consultant. And I am privileged to introduce you to her today. Those of you in the other markets, I'm in Dayton. She's well known in Dayton. But again, I want to expose her and share with you my delight in the other markets that this program airs in as well. And that is Karen Howard. So for the next hour, I am going to be talking to this fascinating woman about her world, her achievements, her successes, her disappointments. We're going to have a very transparent conversation. Let me share something with all of you that are viewers. When you look at people like myself, or even myself, sometimes the assumption is, oh, she has it all, she has it going on, life has been easy for her. I am here to tell you as a statement of truth. You do not get to the top of your game based upon things just happening. It's a hard, hard road. And when we get there, then the issue is staying there. More hard work. So again, just want to lay that out because we're going to have a good show. You stay tuned and sit down and just be fascinated as I do this interview. My guest today is Karen Howard, media and marketing guru, living in Dayton, Ohio. How are you today?
I'm good. Sharon Howard.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I answer to a whole lot of things.
Girl, please. But I need to get.
No, I started with my mama. Look, little girl, you better get in the towel and do those dishes.
Right. No, I that's a major faux pas, Sharon. But I just wanted to say how honored and privileged I am to have you on set today, and to just open up with me and share with me a little bit of background, how you got started. You're also a member of the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame, as am I.
My sister.
Yes, yes. And what an honor that is as well, to for your accomplishments to be acknowledged and validated in that particular venue. But let's talk about you. And let's start with your background and where you came from.
Well, believe it or not, I was born and raised here in Dayton, Ohio.
Really?
Yes, I was.
Interesting.
Yes, I was. And my mother was a homemaker, but had a business in her home.
Really?
My father, who served our country, came back and realized very early on that an education is a great equalizer. So he went to school, to UD, to the University of Dayton, and got his degree, became an educator in this region.
Yes.
He was his love though was jazz.
Okay.
So we had that as a child.
Yes.
And I grew up what young people would call in the hood. In Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
So I went to all black schools. And then I went to the University of Dayton, which is a private white Catholic institution. So I've lived a very interesting life.
That is. And you have brothers and sisters?
I have 3 sisters, 1 brother. So we grew up, you know, we didn't have a lot, but we didn't know that.
Isn't that the truth?
Didn't know
we were
that.
happy.
We just, you know, summer came, we played outside.
Yes.
Did everything that we were supposed to do.
Yes.
We walked to school.
Yes.
Which young people don't experience, even though it's turning back around to that today. But the interesting thing about my life is that in my house, it was never about graduating from high school, because that was like, really?
Yeah.
It was always about college.
Right,
It was always about college. And so, but my parents always told us that we could do anything we wanted to do. We didn't know that because of the way we looked, that might be a barrier, or because of our gender, that might be a barrier. None of that existed in our house. I didn't know I couldn't do so-and-so.
Right.
So if someone were to tell me today that I couldn't do something, that would be like, ridiculous to me because my parents told us we could be anything.
Right.
And that's kind of where I got my foundation. But I've always been engaged in everything. I mean, my mother said I completely aged her in high school because I was in every club.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because life is short. Even then I knew that I wanted to suck up everything that I could suck up.
Right.
And so life for me as a child, even though I wore clothes handed down from my sisters.
Right. We did that.
Shared a room with my sister. We didn't have a lot, you know. That didn't really matter to us. We didn't realize we didn't have anything.
Right.
Because we didn't think that way.
Power of family. Because you had mom and dad and each other and you
neighbors. Our neighbors looked after us. And a lot of relatives. So you know, I have what we call now fake aunts.
But fake aunt would get with you.
Oh no. My neighbor had the right and the privilege and the obligation
to get
us if we were clowning outside, and then send us home to my mother, who would then proceed to get us twice.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There was a sense of family, sense of neighborhood, sense of church.
Yes.
All of those institutions were in place, even in the hood.
Right.
So I had really a very great childhood.
Well, I would have to say the whole notion of, quote, the hood has to be revisited anyway.
Exactly.
Because back then, that's where we all lived.
Oh, yeah.
All of us.
Oh, yeah.
Doctors, teachers, everybody lived.
It's just so interesting what young people don't get to experience. I mean, I grew up across the street from a mom and pop store.
Yes.
It was a neighborhood store, and you could run a tab.
Right.
Okay, because the owner knew your parents, and he knew your parents were good for it. And so, you know, we could go across the street, you could get, you know, $2 worth of ham sliced, fresh, all of those things. So, but you can't do that now, which is kind of scary.
It is.
But even your local neighborhood businesses understood why you needed to support that family.
Because it was a supporting the family.
Correct.
Everything then was about making sure everybody got to eat.
Right.
Had a life.
But they knew my father was good for it.
Right.
So, you know, when it came to payday, my father would go and he'd pay that tab at the local store like he would pay any other bill.
Right, exactly. But his family ate.
Of course.
And that's the thing. We didn't have to worry about systems.
No.
It was about taking care of one another.
Exactly.
That is so powerful. I pray we come back to this. I think we may wind up back to this. They keep cutting food stamps. People are going to be...
Well, and now generations, they're saying that now you have, which they do in other countries, America's going to have to understand that you're going to have multiple generations in your home.
Which is okay.
Which is okay.
Right.
You know, like I have a big house. And so I've been saying, you know, I really need to downsize. I don't need this big house. I have one son. You know, I don't need, you know, we don't need this kind of house.
Right.
And so, but more and more, you know, you're taking in elders.
Yes.
You know, you're being caregivers for parents or grandparents.
Right.
You know, they talk about children coming home because you can't afford it.
Right.
And so what is wrong with that? If everybody's sharing in this house, then you're building something, that foundation right here.
Well, truthfully, I downsized. I had a huge tutor, and 2 years ago, I gave up the ghost and said, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm kind of done.
I'm really done. First thing, I will not be consumed with housekeeping and house cleaning and repairs and lawn and maintenance and
it's okay. You know, it's okay when you have a son who will do the lawn and stuff, but I just don't want the aggravation anymore.
I'm telling you.
I said, you know, why can't we live in a place where you just call somebody and go, you know, my garbage disposal doesn't work. Come fix it. Yeah. I'm really lucky because I have a guy who works on older homes.
Really?
That I trust. Because I don't believe in all these companies. He's had a key to my house for 5 years.
I got you.
So he'll come in. But if I didn't have him, oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you, I had a good guy, Jamaican, and he fixed everything. But Sharon,
You still got tired.
I got tired.
I'm right
You're gonna look up and you're gonna say, I need to polish, I need to do, and I kept saying, I don't want to do this anymore.
I know.
And I did, and I'm now making a second transition, which is I downsized to a very small home, giving it to my youngest child and her spouse, and furnished. Done.
But where you are is where I am and where a lot of my friends are, and that is your life is a transition.
Exactly.
And I'm at a point in my life where I give myself permission to say no. I give myself permission to say, I don't want to.
Yeah.
So if somebody says,
Right.
well, why don't you do this? Because I don't want to.
Because I don't want to.
And I
Right.
say it very freely. It's a very fabulous
Isn't
position
it
to
a
be in.
wonderful place to be?
Yeah, it's like, I call it my Oprah moment.
Yes.
Minus all her money.
Yes. Oh, well, that's okay.
It's my Oprah moment. I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, that's where, this is so funny because that's exactly how I feel.
You have to get to that point. I gave a speech one time it was a group of professional women.
Yes.
And I kept trying to figure out what am I going to talk about. And the title of my speech was No is a Complete Sentence.
Love it.
It was all about
no is a
no.
complete sentence.
And not obsessing about things that really don't matter. I used to obsess about how people in my house folded clothes. Well, you're not folding the clothes right. The towels are trifolded.
No, trifold and over.
And
Right.
And you're supposed to turn your shirts right side out. And then I'm like, but see, when you do that, that means you didn't end up having to do everything because you're the only one that wants it a certain way. So that means I had to fold the towels.
Yeah.
So you know what I said? I don't really care how those towels are folded. If they're clean, they're in the linen closet, I'm okay with that.
I love it. I didn't know the threefold.
It's a girl thing.
It's a girl thing. Threefold.
I've arrived.
Oh God.
I don't care.
And my daughters are like, who does that?
I don't care.
And I said, well, you were raised. They were like, Mom, they're
don't care.
clean.
That's all I care about now. Are they clean? Okay.
Then come on.
I'm okay with it.
That's so interesting because I'm working on this big conference a couple of weeks and I'm interfacing with a lot of people. And I've had to grow up on some things. I'm so used to deadlines, timelines, performance expectations.
Sure.
And I'm right as we speak. I can't get some of my speakers to send their paperwork in.
It's unfortunate because
what do you do with that?
Wh-
You were
wh-
so prompt when
yeah.
you sent your boom, done.
That's because that's how we roll.
Right.
Now, I still believe that's how you ultimately do business. We have gotten to a point where society is accepting of almost anything.
Oh my goodness, Sharon, but how do you get it done?
I know. And see, what happens is we've also had a generation of our peers
Yes.
who've raised children really who are privileged. I look at my son. My son's an only child. This child has had his own bathroom. He's really had his own wing. He's never had to share with anybody. He doesn't. So he went to private schools.
Yes.
He's had a great life. So you have children now who have come from a pretty good life of not having to struggle. And I had an elder say to me one time, "What's wrong with struggling?" People don't struggle anymore. And so because we're so accepting of things, even employers have gotten to the point where this is what we're going to get, so I guess we're just going to take it. It's going to have to come back around because I still believe if you're doing business, then you have to handle your business.
And if you don't handle your business, you need to be out of business.
Exactly.
Or go to work for
because
somebody.
the rules of engagement, though, people don't understand the rules of engagement.
Oh, I love that term.
Don't apply to everybody.
Right.
Okay? There's a group of good old boys over here. Their rules are one thing.
Right.
Our rules may be different. So just because you see them doing a certain doesn't mean I can do that. The rules of engagement are always changing. And
That's
so
good.
I believe at the end of the day, because you don't always know what the rules of engagement are, because they don't the rule setters don't always share with everybody.
Right.
We're not all playing in the same sandbox.
Right. We're
really
definitely not. We're definitely
and so
not.
because we don't always clearly with clarity see all the rules, then it comes back to, are you handling your business? So see, that's what this whole society thing,
Right.
y'all can change and get lazy and
Right.
lax. And I can play with you. I can go over into that sandbox
Right.
and play. Sharon's still coming home.
Gonna be in my own
I'm coming
box.
home. I'm
No.
going to handle my business.
Oh, yes.
Because you won't get me from being asleep.
No.
That's the difference.
No. That's been a challenge. I'm trying to ride through it, even down to sending them, which is totally unacceptable for me, sending you a reminder
And
that
you're grown.
you forgot
Exactly. Grown
to
people.
do this when the first two were sent. And I finally said, I will not be sending any additional reminders. And I said to myself, have we come to a point in society where adults who are professionals have to be reminded and then whine when they send what I consider is standard information? I didn't ask for the right hand of your firstborn. I just simply asked you to do what is accepted protocol, and you won't do it, and you whine, and I'm like, what is it? Am I being just the person that's throwing rocks?
I won't be an enabler.
Thank
I
you.
refuse to do that. And so if you and I agree,
Yes.
because we're going to agree. So when you send an email out and say you've accepted this my invitation,
Right.
here are my expectations. My expectations are I need your bio and your resume, and I need it by this day. And that
Period.
person say, but when they accepted your invitation, they also accepted your expectations. You see what I'm
That-
saying?
exactly.
So if that doesn't happen,
Right.
this is what I always go back to. I always go back to Maya Angelou,
Okay.
who says, if a person shows you who they are, you ought to believe them.
Ha.
Okay,
She
so
did say it.
in other words,
Yes.
if this person has shown you they are unreliable, cannot, you can't trust that they're
Trust
going to
them.
you can't believe their word, then you
Period.
know what? I'm okay. But guess what? I won't be going to that rodeo again.
Right.
So you see, that's what I do now. I cannot be responsible for raising everybody's children,
Oh,
especially when you're grown.
Right, right.
So if you do something that is inappropriate, if you say something that's inappropriate, if you don't manage your expectations, I'm not going to get drawn into a fight with you over it because I'm too old for that.
Right.
As are you. But
Right.
what I'll do is, okay, I'll just say next.
That's you know what I
Next.
decided? I'm going to construct bios because I got to get them pubbed. Without, you didn't give it to me, I got to get it done. I'm going to get it done. But do you think on the next round that's going to happen? Person is not going to be at the table. You've already told me.
And see, what they want you to do is for you, because see,
I
the
don't
internet,
get this.
the internet is like the best thing that ever happened.
Yes.
But it's also the worst. And what I mean by that is, if you ask for someone's bio and they say, "Oh, I'm too busy. I forgot.
Yeah.
Whatever. The
Go
cat
away.
ate it.
Go,
whatever."
Yeah, the cat. Yeah.
They know that you're a professional.
Yeah.
See, if a person shows you who they are,
Yeah.
they've seen you. They know you're professional. Oh, she'll just go out on the internet and get it. So see, what happens is you continue to enable that person. So because you have a job to do,
Have to.
you will go and get their bio. But I would say to you,
Yes.
if this person has shown you that they're not reliable, then I would argue, why would you want to continue to do business with that person? So then maybe you move to that next person who values the opportunity you're giving to them. So it might be an initial hardship in terms of you having to get another guest.
Yes.
But to me, it's worth it in the long run because, first of all, you're not enabling that person. Secondly, you are dealing with people you should be dealing with.
Right.
And thirdly, you've taught this person a valuable lesson because you are giving them the opportunity to share whatever, whether it is a product, a good, a service, intellect.
Right.
In terms of coming in here and talking to you. That's a
Right.
gift, that's an honor.
Right.
Then that's a hard lesson that person has to understand, that you cannot do that to other people and then say you're a professional.
But it's a whole issue, this whole definition, Sharon, and you are a professional. And I must tell you, I knew you by reputation, but when I read your bio, I was like, oh, Done. I'm serious. I said, done. This is a Ron McGlynn type stuff. Done. Done. This is an alpha female. She's accomplished. She's professional. She knows her stuff. And she promptly got me my stuff. As busy as you are. Know that. That's a given.
Because you, having been in television for many years.
Yes.
And producing and hosting, I understand your job. And you cannot prep yourself. Coming out here is not like you just woke up one morning. No, that means you have to become familiar with the subject matter.
Right.
You've got to become familiar with the person you're talking to.
Right.
You have to be a great listener, because oftentimes you might have a script, but the script is thrown out with the bathwater because the conversation starts, and you have to be a great listener.
Right.
So you have to listen to see where you're turning next. But all of that only can happen in a really good way if you're prepped.
Right.
You cannot be prepped if I don't give you the information. The other reason why I give people my information is because that Wikipedia crap and all that stuff, you could go out on the internet and find something about me that may not be me. Okay?
Exactly.
It could be written by somebody else.
Exactly.
I want to be controlling of my information.
Yes.
So if I want you to know me, I'll be responsible for you knowing me by getting you the information. That gives you the time to prepare, so that when you come out here, you're ready.
That is so.
That's just common courtesy, really.
I really think it is, but you know, courtesy is having a hard time today.
And I have no problem with checking somebody who doesn't. Ask young people who come up to me and don't address me properly, or will not use great English, or will no.
Yes.
Courtesy.
I love it. How long have you been in the business?
Let's see. I was in
For those who are not in Dayton.
I was in television for 24 or 5 years.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really started when I was in college.
Really?
At UD.
Local? UD? Right here.
I was a cheerleader for UD, and as a lot of people know, there's a local affiliate that tends to cover your athletic programs.
Right.
And so being a cheerleader for UD, WHIO Channel 7 covered their football and basketball.
Okay.
So I got to know all the people at WHIO. So my first job, a lot of people don't know that, my first job was at WHIO TV.
Huh.
And it took me all of 6 months to realize nobody ever leaves this place. So I'm never going to get promoted, because this guy was getting a 45-year pin. I'm like,
45.
You've been at one place for 45 years? I'm out of here. So I love the experience, but I knew I could never grow fast enough.
No way.
And I'm impatient. And so I left, and then I went across the street to the NBC affiliate, which is WDTN in Dayton.
Okay.
And I started in the entry-level position there, and then I moved all the way up through the ranks to become a department head.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Now, what channel is that?
Channel 2.
That's Channel 2. Okay. Marcia Bonhart, what's
That's that station.
Okay, right. I was in there. I went to. I visited her at that station.
Yep. So I was there for many, many years.
Goodness gracious, that is amazing. So you entry leveled in.
Yep.
And
I
just
came in
worked
entry level. I came in as in a training position.
Yes.
And then just kind of moved up the rank. And for many, many years, I was the only African American department head there.
Yes.
But I was always the only African American female.
Really? That's very, very interesting.
And all my counterparts were almost all white males, some along the way a couple of white females.
And what was your area?
I did community public relations. I did the PR for the station, but I also hosted my own show, and I did some news reporting.
Then you already know how this is. I mean, come on.
That's why your production people don't really know, don't have to tell me how to mic myself.
No. You're a pro.
It's like getting on a bike. Television is like my bicycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you've seen a lot of changes in that industry. I mean, look, we don't have cameramen out here. This is all, I mean, if you look at this studio, this is all HD, computers.
When I first came into business, it was really fun.
I know.
And it's probably still fun, but it's really different. You don't really have a lot of local control.
Yeah.
It's all been driven by corporate offices, things are going through fiber optics, you know, robotic cameras, you know, it's just, it's, and little staffs now, little baby staffs. We used to have lots of people. You have a lot of one-man bands. You have reporters shooting their own video and jumping out in front of the cameras.
What in the world is this?
Yeah, it's a world we live in television. It's very different. But, you know, and I understand the change. When I first started working in television, we were printing money. We made tons of money. I mean, we spent a lot of money, made a lot of money. That doesn't happen anymore. So I understand the changes in the money piece, but it's just not the same fun business. And even back in the day, even if you worked at a competing station, we had organizations, we would all come together for dinner and party.
Yeah, I remember, even though I was not in media per se, I was a media personality. And so I got a chance to go to all those different events, and everybody seemed to have such a sense of camaraderie that doesn't exist today.
It doesn't happen a lot anymore. And also because the business is so weird, you used to have people who stayed and acquired tenure. Now you're here for, you have a 2 or 3 year contract
and you're done.
You're done, you're moving. So you really are not here. I mean, there are some exceptions, obviously, but you're not in any one place long enough to form great relationships either. So it's just different.
Well, you know that the big push now is internet.
Oh yeah, internet, radio, TV.
Television. Yeah, I had a young man on who's fascinating, and he is big with internet television. And that's a completely different
But see, the thing is, because everything is instant coffee now, people want it instantly. Like I'm having a panic attack right now because I don't have my smartphone in my hand.
Yes.
You know, it's truly, you know, so it's in my purse, on vibrate, but I really want to get on it and, you know, jump on Facebook or Instagram. So everything is instant now. The problem with, I shouldn't say a problem, but the difference with all this internet, radio, and TV, you don't have the same quality.
I can't believe you do.
No, you know, when in a network television station, you have big professional sets.
Yes.
You have big professional graphics, and you have there's money. You know, when you look at the Today Show or Good Morning America,
that
it's money. Some of these internet radio and TV stations are in the basements of people's homes.
I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. Where is your set design?
Yeah. So you do give up some of the quality for that instant coffee rush that you want. So it depends on what you really want in news and information.
Well, I think that, again, we are in such a unique time in history. We've got 5 generations of people actually on the planet.
Correct.
5 completely.
And they all receive information differently.
They all receive, because the older generation, they're not feeling that smartphone.
I know.
I
know, because I know a couple people, and matter of fact, I saw somebody over the weekend. We were having dinner, and this one woman pulled out a flip phone. I'm like, really?
My
still
mother.
Have a flip phone? You have a flip? Really? You have a flip phone?
Right.
Yeah. So everyone gets there. I mean, there's still some people who want a newspaper on their door to touch. My father was one of those people.
That's another generation.
But there's not a lot of them.
Right.
That's why newspapers are like dying on the vine.
Exactly.
So, and then young people, they believe true, accurate information is Jon Stewart. And I love Jon Stewart.
Nothing
but
personal,
but
come on.
I love Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
but he is.
But that's a personality.
He's a comedian.
Right.
You know, but he's really good.
Yes, he is.
I really like him.
I mean, I do too. I do too.
But that's not news, people.
I'm like, okay.
So it's like, but, you know, in the last presidential election, who was sitting on Jon Stewart's set? Barack Obama. So, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared.
I don't want to say I feel like an albatross or a Tyrannosaurus Rex, because that's a real, but there is definitely a level of disconnection as a baby boomer. We're both baby boomers. And as I tell my children, I said, whether you like it or not, 78 million of us are not going off the scene quietly.
Yeah, we're still a big group.
Yes.
And that's why young people are running from us. Because remember, Facebook was a young person's thing.
Yes.
And then we all jumped on it, and then
it
the
just-
young people I'm out of here because I'm not Facebooking with my mother. And so now young people ran to Instagram.
Right.
But now we're all moving to Instagram.
Yes, yes.
So they keep trying to run from us.
Yes.
And we're just following.
Well, I told them, I said, there's no way you're going to beat their 70 biggest bubble in U.S. history.
Well, but we're also the people who control the purse strings.
Yes.
Young people might be influential in terms of, they are smart from a technical perspective.
They're the techies.
If I need something done on my computer that I can't figure out, and I'm pretty techie, now I've got some young professional kids that I keep in my love circle. But we really still have the money to buy the cars, you know, the houses.
Yep.
Young people are not quite there yet.
No.
So we still have to be, to a certain degree, respected.
Yes.
Even if they don't want to.
Right.
Because
I know it's tough. I know it's tough.
if you need something from a consumer perspective, the probability of us being in a better position to do that is far greater.
I think I totally agree with you. In fact, one of the things I noted is that Radio 1, which is Miss Hughes, they changed their formatting on the FM
Really?
from hip hop to old school.
Really?
Yes, they just have. It's been
Really?
on for like 2 weeks. You dial their FM that used to be, you know, Ron DMC. It's now Marvin Gaye and the Ohio Players and
But
Tammy
if you look at some of these hip hoppers, though,
Yeah.
a lot of their remixes are remixed with Marvin Gaye.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know, which is you took an original and you tweaked it.
Right.
But no, they actually have a dedicated station now. That station has changed.
And you know what? And the thing about, and I love young people because
Yeah.
they keep my
energy.
bones moving.
Oh yeah,
right.
they keep mine moving.
I like their stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a lot of their music. I think a lot of their music is really kind of awesome.
Yeah, it
When you
is.
think
Yeah, it is.
about if you peel back the layers
Yeah.
in terms of what they're saying, they're very intuitive when it
Yeah.
comes to urban issues.
Yes, they
and,
are.
And those kind of things. My only issue with young people is I just think that you can do that without being disrespectful. The disrespect part is where I draw the line.
Right.
With songs or whatever other kind of way you communicate, I just don't believe, you're never going to make me believe that the best way for you to get a message across is to be disrespectful to a woman or to that.
Yeah, and the profanity. And I mean, you can't talk now? Is that what you're telling me?
Disrespect is a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
So I'm the clean version chick. That's me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a prude. I mean,
Yeah, but come on.
I don't care
Come
if
on,
you say
it's like-
certain words, but you don't have to be.
Right.
The B word is like,
Out.
because
Out.
if
Out.
you and I love each other, we're going to fall out.
Oh, we're going to do more than fall out. As I tell them, Duke's up. Let's just go
My
for
son
it.
cracks up because, I raised him to say parental advisory music was not allowed in our house.
Exactly.
And his argument, which I love because I love when young people want to debate because
Yes.
it makes you think.
Yes.
His debate was, well, I understand you don't want parental advisory music in the house, but Mom, it's not like you can follow me around all day. I'm going to hear it. You're right, but you need to understand it's not acceptable in my house. So even today, if I get in his car,
He will change.
if the song is on it's coming out and the person is going to say before the B comes out, he's hitting the eject. Eject.
Yep. Because that's
And he's
respect.
grown.
That's respect.
He
though.
knows I don't play that.
Oh no. I'm not a female dog. I don't lift up my back leg.
No.
And if you cannot abide by that, it's gonna be a war up in here.
But anything other than that, I'm cool with today's music. I mean, I love it. And I love old school. I love all of that. I just want the respect level.
But I thought it was significant that they've made a complete change in formatting from a previously youth-directed hip-hop.
Because young people don't have any money.
I know that. And now they're old school. And I'm like, now I need to see who's advertising on that channel.
I just want young people, and I understand that people probably say, "Oh, you're old." I just want us to teach our young people that you can have dreams and aspires and all those things that you need to move forward. But unless you put yourself in a position to have a seat at the table and earning power, you're really kind of that hamster in the wheel.
It is a
you know
hamster
what I mean?
in the wheel.
And so you have to, because at the end of the day, consumers, that Wall Street group, they respect power and money.
End of story.
And I'm not saying that that will make you happy. I go to career days all the time, and I tell young people, the first thing I ask them, because depending on the age group, they don't want to hear about my ladder rise or fall.
Yeah, no.
I'll say to them, tell me what you love to do. And they'll say this, I like to take pictures. And I say, okay. So what I try to do is start with what you love. And then let's figure out a way how you can get paid for it.
Right.
That's the simplest way to figure out how to get both.
Right.
So you love computers? Like if people are interested in
Awesome.
television, I used to tell people all the time, most people think television is you and I in front of this camera. But there are graphic artists in a TV station. There are photographers in a TV station. If you have the power of persuasion, you can go into sales.
Right.
There are all kinds of things. But let's start with what you love. Love.
Go with that.
And then figure out how can you get paid for it.
Well, the wonderful thing about the times we're in and the technology leaps, because we're rapid speed on that track, is that is where their comfort level is. They understand technology in a way that I find is absolutely fascinating.
It is.
And then I have to remember that they started on this path when they were in the 2nd and 3rd grade. They started piddling around with this
Girl, go
stuff.
into an Apple store right now. Just go into an Apple store.
Yeah.
And you go over in the kids section. In 2nd or 3rd grade, how about that little 3-year-old person with this mouse? I'm like, look at this little look at this little person. He is moving this little mouse.
Yeah. No big deal. No big deal. But the issue, as I share with them, you can be technologically proficient, but at some point you're going to have to deal with human interface.
If you have no social skills, you're
still not getting it. So we've got this.
You're right.
You've got this high tech, as Faith Popcorn would have said years ago, high tech. But then you've got this touch issue.
Young people don't really. Some do. Now there is the young professional network here in this region is really kind of fun.
Oh, great.
I mean, they're engaged. They want to know what the decisions that are coming out of the city commission. They do pop-up businesses downtown. They are really a great group of young people. But my fear is these geeky, nerdy people who are highly intellectual, unless they're going to be an independent contractor and work out of their home always, they will be socially challenged when they have to come out, because your idea is only your idea unless you get out and promote it to the masses. It will remain just your idea.
Exactly.
And so my fear is young people are not being taught social skills as they are computer and technical skills.
Well, do you think they even see the value? Because we can talk about networking.
Probably not, but they will learn it the hard way, because I told you I have. Whenever people like you ask me for my bio, I always say, here it is. It's obnoxiously long, which only means I'm old, because I've done a lot of stuff. But it's really long, and cut it up however you want. You won't hurt my feelings. But I always tell people that even though my resume or my bio says a lot of things, she's on all these boards. She's got all these awards, and she's done all these jobs, and that means nothing.
Right.
My strongest, most critical asset for me, I'm not saying for all people, for me, is my network.
I'm
Bar
with
none.
you on that. I'm with you on that.
Degrees, jobs, boards, awards.
Right.
It is my network.
Right.
That's the piece that I'm not sure young people get. because at the end of the day, and they should get it because young people want a lot because they're used to having a lot.
Yes, they are. Now they have to do it themselves.
If you don't have a network where you can pick up the phone and make things happen with a phone call
Right.
or an email or a text, then I'm not saying you won't get there. You just won't get there as fast. And your odds are not as great.
Exactly.
So my
Exactly.
network, I mean, I used to go anything somebody invited me to, anything.
Yeah.
And I always felt like no one could promote me better than me.
Exactly.
And so I always wanted to meet a lot of people. Plus, I could go into a room of 400 people and know maybe, 5 and come out knowing 395.
Exactly.
So I never meet a stranger.
Right,
I'm not intimidated by
right.
walking into a room of people and none of them look like me.
Right. Right.
I'm not intimidated by walking into a room with a bunch of CEOs.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
Because y'all getting ready to be my best friend and y'all don't even know it. But young people, I'm not sure they get that piece.
Well, if they don't, Sharon, it's going to be a tough road. Because you and I, as African American females, know that it is not the credentialing. That's a given.
The credentials gets you, here's what the credentials do. The credentials get you on the playing field.
Yeah.
So if you have a stack of resumes or bios and the bios are on the desk of somebody across the country and they don't know you, your credentials will help your paper rise to the top.
Right.
That's what it will do.
Right.
But let's say your resume is on the top of that pile and they call you in to talk to them. If you suck, as young people would say, if you suck in that interview, if you don't have great eye contact,
Right.
if you are inarticulate, if you are not engaging, if you don't have a sense of entertainment
Right.
value,
Right. Right.
then your credentials, even though it got to the top, you will still fall off.
I agree.
So your credentials get you on the field, but what gets you the start role as the quarterback on the team in prime time, Sunday night. Are you ready for some football? What gets you there is your ability to sell, have some savvy,
Yeah.
some sass. You've got to sell it. And that's what a paper doesn't. A paper won't do that for you.
That is very, very good insight and advice. And I truly am troubled because when I look at Monster and all the big portals for resumes, and I'm like, that's all good, but that's not how you really get a job. It's about that, who do you know?
It's about who you know.
It really is. That hasn't
And that's
changed.
been from the beginning of
I'm
time.
thinking it ultimately is going to be about that person making that happen by a phone call or that's a good individual making that happen. And I don't know if that can happen if your world is strictly Facebook and not to be disrespectful, but I don't know why people even are comfortable sharing some of the things that I read, including twerking, which I just learned what twerking was. I told my daughter in Atlanta, I said, what is this? And she said, oh, please, Google it. And I Googled twerking. And I was like, is this legal? Are people arrested? And she said, oh, Mom, just get over it. People do it everywhere. And I'm like, she said, even the one young lady, Miley Cyrus, twerked. And I was like,
well, that's a benchmark to aspire to.
I'm like, yes,
Miley Cyrus, wow.
I was like, I need to change the subject now because this is not coming out well.
Well, the problem is, and I do trainings because I will tell you, the reason that I'm having a panic attack because I don't have my smartphone in my hand is because I am dogmatic with social media. I am. But that's because your smartphone can do it all in one little. People think it takes a lot of time.
No, it doesn't.
But it is free. It's a way to communicate. But I do social media trainings for young people, particularly young women.
Really? Tell me more about that.
Well, a lot of times I have friends of mine who say, I'm not doing that. It's too personal. And I say to people all the time, it's really not. You control what you put out there.
You do.
What you have to understand is once you put it out there, you can't take it back.
Yes.
So I had a young girl who interned for me at Channel 2.
Okay.
And her internship was over. She goes back to University of Missouri, and we're Facebook friends.
Okay,
and
good.
So she was on campus, and one day I see a post that she made, and she was with some friends celebrating Cinco de Mayo, which I'm like, okay, that's another made-up holiday.
Okay,
but,
right.
So in her picture, though, it's her, a couple girlfriends, and they're holding up, what do you call them? Like margarita glasses.
Oh yes, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, and so they're like toasting.
Yes. Okay.
And so I pick up the phone, and I said, Stacy, take that picture down.
Immediately.
And so she's like, why? She said, we're not drinking. I said, take it down. Just take it down. And so she said, okay. So after she took it down, I called her back, and I said, and this is true, employers are now looking at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram in the interviewing process.
How can they get in if they don't have if they're not a friend?
Come on now.
Come on now. Yeah, you're
First
right.
of all, a lot of people don't understand the art of settings.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two, if you have any decent IT person, you can see, because you can Google some things, because sometimes your images that you put on Facebook will get out on the internet.
Exactly.
So what I said to her was, you need to control how your page looks. So in the trainings that I do, my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, we have a program called Emerging Young Leaders, where we mentor middle school girls.
Right.
Awesome. So what we do is we take them into an area that they're familiar with. So we go into a computer lab.
Okay.
And after I go through the training in terms of the do's and the don'ts on social media, I tell them, okay, let's pull your page up.
Oh.
And we go through the, nope, that needs to come down. Nope, that needs to go down.
Yeah.
And basically, I tell them basic rules are, first of all, if you are under 18, you should not use your last name. So oftentimes I'll tell young people, what's your middle name? What is your middle name?
Yvonne.
Okay, so I'll say your name should be Michelle Yvonne.
Period.
So in other words, Yvonne becomes your last name.
Right.
And that is so that pedophiles or whomever, people who mean you harm, can't track you as easily. If you're under 18, you shouldn't put down what school you go to. You shouldn't put any phone numbers. You shouldn't put family photos that could be easily identified as to who you are. So basically, and then I block people. See, because I can control my page.
No, girl.
I control my page. I can't control Michelle's page.
Right.
But if Michelle and I are friends, what Michelle posts will show up on my wall. So if Michelle says something that's crazy,
yes,
I will take it off. But if Michelle continues to be crazy, Sharon will block Michelle.
Where Michelle's postings will not be on your
Correct.
stuff, where all your friends can see.
Correct. I can only control Sharon.
Right.
I can't control Michelle. But what I can control, I had a guy, he got so mad at me, and I unfriended his guy.
I bet you, I know you did.
He's a little neurotic, and I soon realized, you're crazy.
Yes,
and,
a lot of that today, a lot.
I said something, and he did send me a private message.
Okay, he did.
And he was a little annoyed with something, and I just ignored him, because I'm not going to get into a fight on Facebook.
Right.
And so I said something that was just on my page, really was a ha-ha.
Okay.
And he was real serious about it. He goes, you shouldn't be doing this. So you know what? I deleted his message.
And deleted him.
He got mad.
Really?
He inboxed me and he said, you are being rude. You should not delete certain people's messages. and leave others. You should let the freedom of information should just flow.
But it's your page.
And that's what I said. Guess what?
I'm running this.
So guess what? You're gone.
Click.
So that's what people need to understand about social media. Social media is fabulous because you can reach so many people, no money.
Right.
You can find family members you haven't connected with in
Right,
forever.
right. I have found a few.
Yeah. So there's a lot of positives. All you have to do is to control your settings and make sure that you manage the people on your page. And it goes back to that respect thing that we talked about.
Because I'll tell you, I was very, very alarmed. In fact, I saw a post from one of my younger family members that worked for a very large corporation, and he was partying like it was 1999, and I typed in a private message and I said,
you need to stop.
You need to delete all of the above.
Did he?
No, he
Okay.
didn't. He went on and said to me, you're old school, and I said, corporations are run by people that think like me, and you need to get that off.
But maybe he needs that hard lesson.
And it will come. I'm so convinced about this.
Because you gave him really great advice.
I did. I told him, remove it. And actually, he said he struggled about defriending me. Yes. Can you believe he said, you know, I really struggled about defriending you. And I said, hey, it's America. Do what you need to do. But just know that your employer is looking at your stuff.
Wow.
He's looking at your stuff. They didn't get to the top of their game by having people in a public venue representing like that.
Wow.
That's what I said. I did. So what you got going? We only got a few minutes left. This went real fast.
Just working. I'm doing a lot of consulting.
I see.
I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements, a lot of emceeing. I do sit on a lot of boards that I'm real proud of.
Yes.
So there's a lot of work, and I enjoy the service work that my sorority does.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the Dayton chapter of the Links,
Yes.
which is an international organization. So I'm tired.
I was gonna say, I know
I'm
you're tired.
but I always tell people I'm channeling Jill Scott because I'm just living my life like it's golden.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that. At this point in your life, you control outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah,
You control.
and you still have a lot to do.
Yeah.
You know, you have been given a gift to be here, and so you have to take personal responsibility. You still have a lot to do, and if you've reached any kind of success in any career, I think you do have a responsibility and obligation to help bring other people along.
I totally agree.
And so as you're moving forward, people need to also stop and look back. And so if they do that, I think that they will be forever blessed.
Well, one of the core things I'm excited about is with this huge shift is the number of people, if they have your philosophy, if 78 million baby boomers have your philosophy of giving back, of sharing, of not being judgmental, but being willing to lift, I think this country can come out of the doldrums because we're stuck right now.
We're in a not so great place.
We are in a not so great place.
It's really heavy on my heart, the lack of civility.
Oh God,
And,
Sharon.
I think social media has a lot to do with it.
Yes, it does.
I think a lot of people are so polarized politically.
Yes. They can't even have civil conversations.
And so I just want people, because I think disagreeing is okay.
It is okay.
We can agree to disagree. I like the differences of opinion.
Right.
I like engaging with people of different political persuasions or philosophical differences, and that's all great. But as long as we're civil, and when we're done, we still can hug.
Yeah, and not defriend. Click.
Right.
We've run out of time. Isn't she amazing? Sharon Howard, a Dayton icon, actually a national icon, powerful Black woman. I'm delighted to have her on my show today as my guest to talk about her world. And thank you for being a part of my world today on The Power of Money. I'm Michelle Graves, as always, wishing you a spectacular and stellar day. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. You take care.